Welcome to Inside Bremerton. This is the City of Bremerton's video newsletter focusing on issues and topics important to its citizens. And our topic today is our treasured Manette Bridge and the replacement project that is going to happen in probably less than a year. But first of all, let me give you a little history of the bridge. The Manette Bridge is a steel truss bridge that spans the Port Washington Narrows in our beautiful Bremerton. It connects the community of Manette to the downtown Bremerton area. Although it is not a numbered state highway, it is one of the 4 bridges specifically designated by the state to be maintained by the State Department of Transportation. The current bridge is 82 feet above the water and has a horizontal clearance of 244 feet between the piers. Before the bridge was opened in 1930, the trip was made by ferry. Between 1916 and 1930, the Mosquito Fleet Ferry Pioneer serviced the crossing between Bremerton and Manette for most of the time. Sometimes the Urania, passenger-only ferry, filled in. Missing the last ferry meant the long trip along Dyes Inlet through Chico, Silverdale, and Tracyton on mostly unimproved roads. The bridge was built as the Bremerton-Manette Bridge, a toll bridge constructed by the East Bremerton Improvement Club to assist families in commuting from the east side of Bremerton to the west side. Locals went door to door selling stock, raising approximately $200,000 for the bridge construction. Construction began in 1929 and the bridge opened on June 21st, 1930. Originally, the bridge was a toll bridge with tolls of 25 cents per car and 5 cents for pedestrians. The Washington Toll Bridge Authority purchased the bridge in 1937. The tolls generated on the bridge enabled the toll authority to recover the purchase price within a year and a half. In 1949, the timber approaches were replaced with concrete and steel components. The entire timber roadway deck was replaced around the same time. The main span through truss and deck trusses are from the original 1930s bridge. Currently, a project is in the works to update the bridge again, and construction should begin next year. This is a really exciting project for our community, one we've been waiting for many, many years. Joining me now is Bill Elliott. Bill is the project engineer. Welcome, Bill.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are in the Norm Dix Government Center, and there are numerous boards depicting all different phases of the bridge. Many, many questions will be answered. It is May 5th, and there's an open house for the community today. What is the purpose of the open house today, Bill?
We've been working on the development of this project since the early 90s. Community is aware of that. We've had a lot of community involvement. But we're coming up on construction of the replacement, which is a big event for us. It's a big event for the community. So we're excited to bring out to the community the state of the design for the new bridge and to provide information about that design. We have quite a lot of information about what can be expected during the construction phase of the project that'll start in mid-2010. And we're also looking forward to getting input from the community on some architectural enhancements that we can make on the bridge. And we'd really like to get some public input on what some of those designs and patterns could look like.
Well, we all know that the folks in Manette are very, very involved in their community and really want to maintain the ambiance of that community. How have they been involved up to this point?
Again, over the life, if you will, the evolution of the project's design since the mid-90s, there have been several public open houses, including over in the Manette neighborhood, to gather public input and provide information to the public. We've also had an ongoing working relationship with City of Bremerton staff, and that provides us a link to the community. We've also had a lot of communication with Council Member Adam Brockus, who of course is from the Manette community, and a lot of input from Adam, and the bridge is very important to him, and he reflects his constituents' interests in that regard.
I think the most important question, well, we've got lots of important questions, is the old bridge going to be closed during construction?
Predominantly, the old bridge will be kept open to traffic during construction. The new bridge gets built parallel to and just to the south of the existing bridge.
And how close?
3 feet. Wow. 3 feet of horizontal separation between the railing on the sidewalk of the existing bridge and the concrete barrier of the new bridge. So it's quite close. So the heavy construction will be very present for those using the bridge. But the majority of the new bridge is parallel to the existing, so it can be built without impacting traffic on the existing bridge. The two outer spans of the new bridge overlap with the existing bridge, so understandably, before we can complete those outer spans, we've got to remove a portion of the existing bridge outer spans. Since it's as narrow as it is, that'll require closing the existing bridge to traffic for that phase. Right now, we expect that period to be about 3 months in duration. Could be slightly longer, slightly less. We're still sharpening our pencils on the scheduled duration and the exact work activities. At this point, we do think the existing bridge can be kept open to pedestrian traffic during that period, and I think that'll be to a real benefit of the community because a lot of pedestrians and bicyclists use the bridge to get between Manette and downtown.
Great segue to our next question. I see that there is not only a pedestrian path, but a bike path on one side of the bridge. Why didn't you do that on both sides?
Right. The cross-section, if you will, in engineer speak, of the new bridge has 2 vehicular lanes, as the current bridge does. They'll be 11 feet wide on the new bridge. On the existing bridge, the traffic lanes are 12 feet wide, with the exception of the narrow spot with what we call the through truss, where they're only 9.5 feet wide. So you won't have that pinch point on the new bridge. And then we'll have 5-foot wide shoulders on each side, both left and right side, all the way across the bridge that can be used by bicyclists. And then on the south side, a 12-foot wide sidewalk, which is probably what you were commenting on, because that's extraordinarily wide. So how did we get to that 12-foot wide sidewalk on one side? Well, our original design had a more, I guess, typical 6-foot wide sidewalk on both sides. City of Bremerton staff advocated to us that their preference would be to put all that sidewalk on one side, the south side, really as part of the city's promenade concept, coming up from downtown, crossing the bridge over to Manette. I believe it's called the Mosquito Trail. So it's kind of part of that theme.
Oh, that's excellent. So talk to us about impacts and the changes that we're going to see on the roadway on both sides of the bridge.
Right. There won't be much when we're done. For us, this is what we call a bridge preservation project, in this case replacement. And the new bridge will tie in to the existing intersections on each side. There'll be slight modifications because, as I said, the new bridge is built slightly south of the existing. So on the west or downtown Bremerton side at Washington Avenue, that intersection will be moved slightly, probably 50 feet to the south. Folks have probably recently seen what I call the Red House. It was actually formerly called the Ford Apartments, has been purchased and removed. That's where the touchdown point of the new bridge comes in on the downtown side. But it'll still be a signalized intersection, same lane configurations as today. On the Manette side, there will actually be no change to the intersection configuration at all. Again, the new bridge will curve in slightly from the south of the existing. But it's a lot of folks, when they hear that, think that the new bridge will be over the top of the Boat Shed restaurant.
Many questions about that.
And it's not nearly that far. There's actually more distance between the existing bridge and the Boat Shed than one thinks when you're down there. So by the time you get over there, the new bridge touches down right about where the current intersection is. It does overlap a bit with the current Whitey-Domstead viewscape, which we'll be restoring after the project.
Good. Lots of folks are concerned about the Domstead Park little beauty spot, and there's a huge, beautiful tree there that I know they're going to be very concerned with. So let's talk about timeline, Bill. What is the timeline for the project?
Right. We're scheduled to advertise our construction contract for bids in March of 2010. It'll then be out for consideration by bidders for about 6 weeks. We'll open the bids, select the low bidder, execute the contract by May, June timeframe, and construction work could start in mid-2010. It may be a few months after that before folks actually see work on site. One of the first things the contractor is going to need to do, the contractor will predominantly need to work off of platforms or trestles that are built across Port Washington Narrows. Contractor will need to design those, have them fabricated, et cetera. That may take a few months. But by mid to late summer of 2010, you can expect the contractor to be out there in Port Washington Narrows. First activity will probably be pile driving for those work platforms so he can place cranes, heavy equipment out there in the Narrows. The new bridge we expect to be complete by the middle to end of 2012. And again, as we said earlier, that brief closure period will take place just preceding that. So new bridge could open to traffic, at which point the existing bridge will be removed. And so we should be done in total by the end of 2013.
Wow, very huge project. Now, here's the question about money. What is the cost of this huge project?
Right, that's the $64,000 question, right? It's actually, our cost estimate for the total project is $64 million. And that has gone up over time, as most costs have.
Right.
And we are funded to cover that cost. So that's something that the project's been waiting for a long time. A lot of folks are aware of that again, this project is part of our statewide bridge preservation program. And we have a long list of bridges across the state that are regularly prioritized for funding. And Manette's now got its turn coming.
How fortunate for the city of Bremerton that the Manette Bridge is a city street but maintained by the Department of Transportation, the state of Washington. We've been very interested in this project and we're really excited to see it go to its fruition. Bill, I want to thank you for your time.
Right.
Bill works on about 7 or 8 projects at one time, but he has all the answers to Manette and it's probably not confused with any other project.
I don't quite have all the answers. That's why I've got a lot of folks with me tonight.
We have a
to
lot of
answer the rest
support,
them.
folks. Stay with us. We're going to be right back, and we're going to talk to Tony Mesmer. He's the lead design engineer. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Bremerton. With me now is Tony Mesmer. Tony is the lead design engineer on our Manette Bridge replacement project. Tony is a University of Washington graduate. This is his 5th project for the state on bridge design, correct, Tony?
That's correct.
Great. Let's get right into us. Tell us a little bit about how the bridge is going to look.
Well, the best thing to do is look at the board behind us. As you can see, it's a reinforced concrete bridge, which is significantly different than the existing bridge, which is all steel. There's 7 spans. They're 250-foot spans. Typically, there are 2 end spans, which are shorter. The bridge cross section, as Bill mentioned earlier, will carry 2 11-foot lanes, 2 5-foot shoulders, and 1 12-foot bike pedestrian path.
That's quite wider than our current bridge.
Yes, it is significantly wider.
Which is fabulous, because we really do need a bike lane. How tall is it?
The new bridge will be almost the same height as the existing bridge. The existing bridge is a little bit taller. It's about 82 feet tall. The new bridge will provide a minimum of 75 feet vertical clearance at the faces of the piers here on the main span. So it's similar in height. It is significantly less piers in the water because there are less spans, longer spans than the existing bridge.
Tony, what are you wanting from the public tonight? What is the input that is needed for the state?
So one of the things we'd really like to get is some input on architectural enhancements at the piers, at the tops of the piers, and also at the diaphragms or / closures at the girders. And so what I'm talking about is these areas here at the tops of the piers and these areas here where there's a construction joint between the two different girders.
And do you have ideas on that, or are you asking for anything from the community?
Generally what we're looking for is something that could be cast into the concrete.
Oh, great.
And so we're looking for ideas. I think it's pretty open. We're pretty open at this point. We can't have anything that's too finely detailed, otherwise it just won't work well. Essentially it has to be in the form that the concrete is poured into. So that's what we're looking for.
How big is this area right here?
This
What is the
area is
dimension?
about 12 feet tall and about 8 feet wide. And these are about 8 feet deep by about 4 feet wide.
Wow, wow, great. Tony, what is the depth of the water under our bridge?
It is about 30 to 40 feet deep. It obviously varies with the tide, but it gets up to 40 feet.
That's relatively shallow. I thought it was a lot deeper than that. Awfully fast water through there, really
Yes.
fast water. Wow, very good. So when the new bridge is constructed, Tony, and almost ready to open, how will the old bridge be taken down?
So once as you said, once the new bridge is completed and we're ready to demo the old bridge, the contractor will come in and likely remove the end spans or the approach spans that were built in 1949 with cranes in large sections. When he gets to the truss sections, he could lift those out in single pieces essentially, but he may also take them out piece by piece in smaller pieces and then work his way down to the piers, which would be cut up into smaller pieces and lifted out with cranes also, all the way down to the mud line. We'll cut off the piers to the mud line.
Wow, big, big project. Really good information. Stay with us. We're going to be talking about some environmental concerns next with Jeff Sawyer. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Bremerton. With me now is Jeff Sawyer. He's Environmental and Hydraulics Manager for the state of Washington. Welcome, Jeff.
Good afternoon.
Jeff is concerned about environmental issues and how they're addressed. So let's talk about those concerns, and I know there are a few. Talk to us about them.
With any large project over water and in water like this, there are a lot of concerns related to the methods that we use to construct the bridge, as well as the long-term impacts from operation of the bridge. Initially, we're very concerned with the excavation and work that would occur in the water, associated pollution that might result from construction methods or inadvertent spills of that nature. Construction techniques like pile driving also have impacts to aquatic species as well.
Right. Talk to us about the fish concern, the fish window we always hear about. What is that all about and how is it addressed?
The fish window, basically all the waters throughout the state have a period of time when fish are less likely to be there. They either would have transited through the area or just aren't using that area as habitat. It doesn't mean that there are for certain no fish presence, just a lesser likelihood that there would be fish there. So typically as we plan construction work, we target it and are required to do that work by permit within that window.
Great. How about noise, Jeff? I know, this is going to be a noisy project, no doubt about it. Especially the pile driving, maybe some nighttime work. Talk to us about that.
Sure. Noise is a big concern for us, both on construction projects and as we operate our highways. For construction, we do have a lot of pile driving planned here to support the temporary work trestles that'll be necessary to work over the water. As far as the residents and noise on both sides of the waterway, We plan to do most of that work in the daytime hours, in the middle of the day. There shouldn't be much pile driving outside those windows. So hopefully it's during the time when people are less bothered by that type of noise.
That's great. Lots of folks have concern, Jeff, with Whitey Domstead viewpoint, beautiful little spot right above our boat shed on the Manette side of the bridge. And I know the state has been working on preserving that area and the Christmas tree, especially the huge tree. Tell us about how the state is working on that.
Yeah, we're very concerned about that from a standpoint of aesthetics as well as a use area that people have now. And we'd like to see that replaced, perhaps even in a better form after the project. So we have landscape architects that are looking at redeveloping that and reconstructing that following the construction work so that it would replace the current use there. With regards to the Christmas tree, I think it may be in the way of the bridge alignment itself. We've looked at potentially relocating the tree and then bringing it back, but it's probably too large and mature of a tree for the tree to survive that. So we would probably look at replanting another tree to try to replace it.
Great. There are some displays that are at the open house this evening that give folks some concepts of perhaps what the new Whitey Domstead area would look like.
Right.
Thanks so much for your time today. We want to alert folks to the website, the Washington State Department of Transportation website. It is www.wsdot.wa.gov/projects. Go to that site. You can dig in there and find the Manette Bridge Replacement Project. Huge for our community. It does look like it will be underway in about a year from now. We're looking at the summer 2010 for this project to begin, with completion in 2013. Huge project for our area, and it's finally almost going to begin. We're so excited, and so excited to have a new bridge. Thanks again, Jeff.
Okay.
And thanks for joining us on Inside Bremerton. We'll see you next time.